Good afternoon, students. In the last class, we have discussed the introduction about the high voltage engineering and also some applications we have discussed. So, in this class, I'll proceed with the actual syllabus of high voltage engineering. And this is a syllabus copy of high voltage engineering. In the first module, you're going to study the different breakdown mechanisms like breakdown in gases, breakdown in solids, and breakdown in liquids. And some properties are there in that, so we'll be covering in the first module. In the next module, it is related with the generation of high voltages and current, and some important impulse voltages are there, that also we're going to cover. In the third module, it's a measurement. In the second module, it's a generation. In the third module, it relates with the measurement of high voltage and currents. How we're going to measure the high voltage and current by using the instruments. In the fourth module, you come across over voltage phenomena and insulation coordinations. In the last module, the non-destructive and destructive fields. It relates with the destructive and non-destructive fields, and also the electrical apparatus which are used in high voltage engineering. These are the reference books. In the last class only, I dealt with this reference books. Next is ionization process. So before going to ionization process, I will explain some important points on conduction. It's conduction and breakdown in gases, conduction and breakdown in liquids, and conduction and breakdown in solids. So in the first chapter, that is conduction and breakdown in gases, you will come across different gases which are used in high voltage engineering. The thing is, the simplest and most commonly found dielectric gases are the gases. So most of electrical apparatus use air as an insulating medium, and in few cases other gases such as nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and freon gases are used. So for example, various phenomena occur in a gaseous dielectrics when a voltage is applied. You know that whenever we are going to apply the voltages, the various gaseous dielectrics will come into picture. So when the applied voltage is low, for example, if you are going to apply a small voltage to any material, a small current will going to flow. Whenever you apply small voltage, a small current will flow between the electrodes, and insulation retain its electrical properties. If it is a small voltage, insulation will retain its property. Whenever you apply the higher voltages, the insulation will going to lose its properties, and that is nothing but an electrical breakdown. And the next is the electrical discharges in gases. The electrical discharges in gases are of two types. One is non-sustaining discharge, and the other one is self-sustaining type. The breakdown in gases, called a spark breakdown, in transition of non-sustaining discharge to self-sustaining discharge. The build-up of high currents in a breakdown is due to the process known as ionization. So that's what I am dealing with, that ionization, in which the electrons and ions are created from the neutral atoms or molecules, and their migration to the anode and cathode respectively leads to high current. That means whenever the electrons movement takes place between the two electrodes, the electrons will be liberated. So next is the ionization process. Already we know that what is ionization. What exactly the ionization is? So whenever you applied a high voltage between the two electrodes or immersed in a gaseous medium, the gas becomes a conductor and an electrical breakdown occurs. So by taking this, you can define the ionization by collision or ionization process. And before that, we will come to know what exactly the ionization is. The ionization is the process of liberating an electron from a gas molecule with a simultaneous production of positive ion is called ionization. This is the basic concept of ionization. Whenever an electron is liberated from a gas molecules with a simultaneous production of positive ion, then it is called as an ionization. This is what the ionization process is. When a high voltage is applied between the two electrodes immersed in gaseous medium, the gas becomes conductor and an electrical breakdown occurs. The process that are primarily responsible for breakdown of gas or ionization by collision, photoionization and secondary ionization process. These are the further process. After ionization, these are the further process. Photoionization. First is ionization by collision, photoionization and secondary ionization. So first we will look at the ionization by collision. This is the diagram of ionization by collision. It consists of two parallel plate electrodes. One is cathode and the other one is anode. And the next is current limiting resistor. Next, adjustable HV source and microammeter. And these are the two plates, and these two plates are separated by a distance d, and this I naught is an initial current, and this arrow mark indicates the movement of electron from cathode to anode. These are the ultraviolet radiations which are falling on the cathode ray tube or cathode electrode. Now I will explain how it works. So if we consider a low pressure gas column in which an electric field E is applied across the two parallel plate electrodes. These are the two parallel plate electrodes. When you apply in high voltages, so what happens? When you were to apply high voltage, then an electron starting at cathode will accelerate more and more between the collision with other gas molecules during its travel towards anode. Means it will travel from cathode to anode. It will travel from cathode to anode, and that is the as usual process when you apply in high voltage. When it travels from one place to other place, that is from cathode to anode, the collision takes place. Where the collision takes place in between these two electrons, among the electrons. Here the electrons will going to generate and it will travel from cathode to anode. While traveling, it will collide with the electrons with other gas molecules during travel towards the anode. If energy E is gained during this travel between the collision exceeds the ionization potential, that is represented by Vi. So which is the energy required to dislodge an electron from its atomic shell. That Vi is an energy which is the energy required to dislodge an electron from its atomic shell. Then ionization takes place. This process can be represented. Here is the equation. This is the equation. Electron plus atom, where A is an atom, A plus, this A plus is a positive ion and E is an electron. This is very important equation. So after this process, a few of the electrons produced at the cathode by some external means, say by, you can say the ultraviolet radiations. You can see this ultraviolet radiations falling on the cathode. So that ionize look like gas particles producing positive ions and additional electrons. The additional electrons then themselves make ionization collisions. Thus process repeats itself. That means whenever I will summarize this concept. Whenever you apply an adjustable HV source or a high voltage source to the cathode and anode, the electrons will be liberated from this plate and those electrons will move towards the anode. When it is moving towards the anode, it collides with some other electrons. When it takes place, the multiplication of electron will occur. Those multiplication will leads to a current. That is, movement of electrons are nothing but a current. That is given by this I naught. Moment of electron is nothing but a current. That is I naught. And this current is generated in between these two parallel plate electrodes. And the purpose of using this current limiting resistor is to limit the charging current and also to avoid the unwanted oscillations which are produced in the supply. This is very important. This R is a current limiting resistor. This is also called as a water resistor. This will limit the charging current and also to avoid the unwanted oscillations which are produced from the supply. For that purpose, these resistors are used. This is about ionization by collision, and this is also called as an arrangement for study of Townsend's discharge. This is about the explanation. This is the explanation of on the previous slide. You can go through that. And this is very important equation. A stands for an atom and A plus is a positive ion. A plus is a positive ion. It's the liberation of positive ion with an electron. That is nothing but an ionization. Liberation of positive ion with electron. You can look at the definition. The process of liberating an electron from a gas molecule with the simultaneous production of positive ion is called ionization. So this is what the ionization process is. At this stage, the ionization takes place. Electron, positive ion plus electron. This is the concept of ionization by collision. Next is the photoionization. So it can be defined as the phenomena associated with the ionization by radiation or photoionization involves the interaction of radiations with the matter. The photoionization occurs when the amount of radiation energy absorbed by an atom or molecule exceeds its ionization potential. Several processes are there. The first one is the excitation of atom to higher energy state. That means the atoms will going to jump from lower energy state to the higher energy state. During that time, the photoionization will going to takes place. The definition of photoionization is that photoionization occurs when the amount of radiation energy absorbed by an atom or molecule exceeds its ionization potential. It means it will going to absorb in the first process. It's excitation of an atom to a higher energy state. Exceeds its ionization potential. So in the last slide I explained about the ionization potential, that is Vi, which is the energy required. Once again I will define that. Vi means it's an ionization potential. So which is the energy required to dislodge an electron from its outermost shell. This is a very important definition. Vi is an or ionization potential is a very important definition. Once again I will repeat. Ionization potential can be defined as the energy required to dislodge or displot an electron from its outer atomic shell. Then only the ionization takes place. And next is continuous absorption by direct excitation of an atom. There will be continuous absorption of atoms. Continuous absorption by direct excitation of an atom. Continuous absorption is going to take place. That continuous absorption also can be related with the photoionization. This is the equation, that is I can write that HV is equal to Hc by lambda. Lambda is a wavelength, and you see it is a reversible process. This process is a reversible process, that is Hv plus atom gives rise to a ionization process, that is lambda less than C. This here you can write less than or equal to C H by Vi. This can also be written in terms in other fashion, that is lambda less than C dot H by Vi. You can have a look at this. HV, the reversible process, HV plus E, reversible process, the arrow indicates the reversible process E. Whenever it moves from the right side to left side, then also photoionization takes place. Whenever it moves from left to right, then also the ionization takes place. and h in this equation, h is a Planck's constant, c is the velocity of light, Vi is the ionization energy of an atom. So if we substitute the values, that is c value, Planck's constant value, you will get lambda less than or equal to 1.27 into 10 power of minus 6. That's c is velocity of light, the 3 lakh km per second, and lambda is Planck's constant is 6.62 into 10 power of minus 34. If you substitute those values, you will get this, and this is the pictorial representation of photonization, and this is not required for you, it is just a representation. So these are the figures. You can see that electrons circulating in a strong ring. It's a beam collimator. From that, the electrons will be liberated. Whenever it acts with a magnetic field, the electrons will be liberated, and it will circulate in a ring. And this was the example. The next process is a secondary ionization process. Secondary ionization process by which secondary electrons are produced, the one which sustain a discharge after its establishing due to ionization by collision and photoionization. So they are briefly described below. So first is electron emission due to positive ion impact. Next is electron emission due to photons. And the third one is electron emission due to metastable or neural atoms. So what is this electron emission due to positive ion impact? Though positive ions are formed due to ionization by collision or by photoionization and being positively charged, they travel towards the cathode. That is what your electron emission due to positive ion. I repeat, the positive ions are formed due to ionization by collision or photoionization and being positively charged, they travel towards the cathode. A positive ion approaching a metallic cathode can cause the emission of electrons from the cathode by giving up its kinetic energy on impact. You know that kinetic energy will be there. So that will be helpful in electron emission due to positive ion impact. For example, if the total energy of the positive ion, like the sum of its kinetic energy and the ionization energy, is greater than twice the work function of metal, then one electron will be liberated or ejected, and the second electron will neutralize the ion. First one will be ejected or liberated, and the second electron will neutralize the ion. Next, the process of measuring gamma. Gamma is a small value we are considering in electron emission, which is called a Townsend secondary ionization coefficient. Alpha also we are going to consider. Alpha will be considered as a Townsend's primary ionization coefficient, and gamma will be Townsend's secondary ionization coefficient. This gamma is due to the positive ions and is defined as the net yield of electrons per incident positive ion. This gamma can be defined as, it's a net yield of electrons per incident positive ion. You please remember this definition. Gamma is a secondary ionization coefficient, or Townsend secondary ionization coefficient can be defined as net yield of electrons per incident positive ion. This is what the electron emission due to positive ion. Next is electron emission due to photons. What is that process? So we need to escape the electron from the metal. So to cause an electron to escape from metal, it should be given enough energy to overcome the surface potential barrier. That energy can be supplied in the form of photons of ultraviolet light of sustainable frequencies or suitable frequencies. Like electron emission from the metal surface occurs at critical conditions with respect to this. So that can be given by I think equations are the equations. Here's the equation, that is phi is equal to h into f. You can also write that v, h into v. For your convenience we can write v also. Phi, you can look at this, phi is h into f. So phi is this phi is a work function of metallic electrode, and this is a frequency, f is a frequency. You can write it as b, and this can be given by v is equal to phi by v is equal to, or f is equal to, this f is equal to phi by h, and that is known as threshold frequency. For nickel surface, the phi will be 4.525 electron volt, and threshold frequency will be that corresponds to the wavelength of the lambda. It depends upon the lambda value, that is 2755 to 3000 angstroms. So if the incident radiation has a greater frequency than a threshold frequency, then the excess energy goes partially as a kinetic energy of the emitted electrons, and partly to heat the surface of electrons. This is what the electron emission due to photons. The third process is electron emission due to metastable and neutral atoms. This is somewhat different compared to the above concepts. This is somewhat different. It depends upon the metastable atoms or molecules. This metastable atoms or molecules is an excited particle. Those are the excited particles. These metastable atoms or molecules, excited particles, and the lifespan is very large. It is in the range of 10 to the power of -3 seconds compared to the lifetime of ordinary particles. So you know that ordinary particle lifespan is 10 to the power of -8 seconds, but this metastable lifespan is 10 to the power of -3 seconds. So electrons can be ejected from metal surface by the impact of excited atoms. Therefore, the yields can also be large, nearly 100%. For the interaction of excited, the atoms, that helium, neon, some more atoms will be there. So by using helium or neon atoms with a clean surface of molybdenum, nickel and magnesium, neutral atoms in the ground state also give rise to a secondary electron emission if their kinetic energy is high. That is what the concept of electron emission is. And this is the explanation. And this is very important. The number of photoelectrons depends upon the nature of the material, what type of materials you are going to use. It depends because the property or the composition also matters. That's why they are considering the nature of material. Next is the frequency of incident radiations, how frequent it is falling on that material. Next, intensity of incident radiation is potential difference between the electrons. Then only the voltage will be going to build up. For that purpose, they are going to consider the potential difference between the electrons. This is what I explained about a metastable and neutral atoms. Next is breakdown in electronegative gases. Just a minute. Before that, I want to give some information about electronegative gases. Let me continue with the electronegative gases only. We'll discuss those later. breakdown in electronegative gases. It has been recognized that one process that gives a high breakdown strength to a gas in electron attachment, in which free electrons get attached to the neutral atoms or molecules to form a negative ions. It is already known, forming of negative ions, since negative ions like positive ions are too massive to produce ionization due to the collisions. Attachment present in the effective way of removing electrons, which otherwise would have to lead the current growth and breakdown at low voltages. The gases in which attachment plays an active role are called electronegative gases. This is the definition of electronegative gases. The gases in which attachment plays an active role are called electronegative gases. Whenever the attachment forces are too high, then these electronegative gases will be released. There are two types. The attachment are of two types. One is direct attachment, in which the electrons directly attach to form a negative ion. So whenever the electrons get directly attached, the negative ions will be formed. That is the one process. And the dissociative attachment, this dissociative means it is splitting up of attachment, splitting of an electrons. So that splitting attachment in which the gas molecules split into their constituents atoms, and the electronegative atoms forms a negative ion. Splitting and forming a negative ion. This is one process. One is the attachment, and the next one is detachment, detaching or splitting of an atoms to form a negative ions. You can have a look at this equation. This process may be symbolically represented as direct attachment. You can consider AB plus E gives rise to AB negative, and this A stands for, we consider A as a sulfur or carbon atom, and B is an oxygen atom or one of the halogen atoms or molecules, plus electron gives rise to AB negative, plus H plus HV. You can also write plus H. This is a direct attachment. Next is a dissociative attachment. Also you can look A sulfur, A is sulfur or carbon atom, B is an oxygen or one halogen atoms or molecules, plus electron gives rise to A plus B. Here it is splitting A plus B, A plus B to form a negative ion. Here it is attaching A, B. And have a look at this equation. This is a Townsend's primary ionization coefficient, that is I is equal to I naught exponential alpha T. I is the primary current, I naught is the moment current, exponential alpha D. Alpha is Townsend's primary ionization coefficient, and D is distance between the two electrons. In the ionization by coefficient, I explained the distance between the two electrons. The distance also matters to form the ions. This alpha and T plays a very important role. Alpha is the Townsend's primary ionization coefficient, and D is the distance. As I naught is the initial current at the cathode. I naught is the initial current that this current is produced due to the electrons. I is the current, I naught is the initial current which is produced at the initial stage whenever the electrons are moving from one place to the other place, at a distance of 1 mm, 2 mm or 3 mm, the electrons will be produced. The Townsend's procedure for current growth equation. Let us assume n naught dash, number of secondary electrons produced due to the secondary process, that is gamma. I was talking about the gamma. Gamma is the secondary Townsend's secondary ionization coefficient. So n naught double dash is total number of electrons leaving the cathode. Then it is given by n naught double dash is equal to n naught plus n naught. This is number of electrons. Normal n naught is a number of electrons. N naught dash is number of secondary electrons produced due to the secondary process. Look at this total number of electrons and reaching anode. We consider this previous equation. In place of n naught, we can write n naught plus n naught dash, n naught plus n naught dash, and n naught dash can be replaced by a secondary ionization process, that is gamma into n minus n naught plus n naught dash. Look at this n naught dash. This n naught dash can be written as gamma into n minus n naught dash. Gamma is the secondary ionization coefficient, n is the number of electrons, n naught is the primary electrons, and n naught dash is moment electrons. So eliminating n naught dash, n is equal to n naught exponential alpha t 1 minus gamma into exponential alpha t minus 1. You can substitute these values in n naught and n naught dash. You will get this equation. So in terms of current, you can write, you just multiply this n with an electron. If you multiply this n with an electron, you will get current I, that is n into E can be written as I, n naught into E can be written as I naught, exponential alpha t and exponential alpha t. So with such gases, the Townsend's current growth equation is modified to include ionization and attachment. An attachment coefficient, that is eta. This eta attachment coefficient, we call it as an attachment coefficient, is defined similar to alpha as number of attaching collisions made by one electron drifting 1 cm in the direction of the field. Alpha can also be defined as its number of attaching collisions made by one electrons by drifting 1 cm in direction of field. That means number of attachment collision will going to take place in the in between two electrodes. So to drift only one electron for 1 centimeter in the direction of field, that is your alpha and also the eta. So under these conditions, the current reaching the anode can be written as, summing up the previous equations, these all equations, we can get the final one. This is the equation. Next is the Townsend's breakdown criteria for attaching gases can also be reduced by equating the denominator. So we want to approach for the breakdown criteria for attaching gases. That's why we are equating the denominator. Equate the denominator gamma into alpha by alpha minus n, exponential alpha minus eta into d minus 1 is equal to 1. So this shows that if for alpha greater than eta, the breakdown is always possible irrespective of the values of alpha, eta and gamma. It doesn't depend upon alpha, eta and gamma whenever the breakdown is possible. So if on the other hand eta is greater than alpha, the above equation approaches an asymptotic form with increasing value of d, and this equation increase the value of d. That means whenever you increase the distance between the two electrodes, the asymptotic approach will take place, and which results in this equation. And normally that gamma is very small, that is 10 to the power of minus 4, and if you consider the alpha, it will be of 10 power of minus 3. So this condition puts a limit of E by P below which no breakdown is possible with respect to the value of D, and limit value is called critical E by P. Next we'll move on to the corona effect. I think you have studied in the 5th semester. Corona. Already you have studied that corona discharge. Where is that corona discharge? So before going to the corona discharge, let me tell you what is corona. Whenever you observe or whenever you see a violet hissing noise on the conductor, violet hissing noise or violet blue color on or red lines, then that will be considered as a corona. This corona relates with the corona discharge. If the electric field is uniform, a gradual increase in the voltage across a gap produces a breakdown of gap in the form of a spark without any preliminary discharge, and this can be given by an equation that is EW with respect to the wire, that is the conductor, is equal to EW is equal to 30 MD, that M stands for the meters and D is the distance, and is it can vary with respect to the corona effect. It consists of corona is of two types. One is positive corona and the other one is negative corona. Now if you observe any blue violet hissing noise, it will be positive corona. When you observe any red discharges, that will be considered as a negative corona. So coming to the corona inception and the breakdown voltages of sphere plane arrangements. You can have a look at this. This is a diagram discharge gaps. So at a small spacing, the first condition is at a small spacing or a region 1, you can take any of this region 1, the field is uniform and the breakdown voltage mainly depends upon the spacing. If the spacing is small, the small spacing, the field will be uniform. If the spacing in between the two electrodes is small, the field is uniform and the breakdown voltage mainly depends upon the spacing. So if it is a fairly large spacing, that means that means a large spacing compared to the smaller one. If, for example, if it is a 2 meter, for the second case, if it is 3 meter, for the first case, that is small spacing, we consider 2 meter. For second case, we consider 3 meters, and that will be considered as a fairly large spacing. And also a region 2, the field is uniform and the breakdown voltage depends both on sphere diameter and the spacing. This is a sphere diameter. We consider these type of electrodes. We need to consider the sphere diameter also. Next, a large spacing. For third case, a large spacing, the field is non-uniform and the breakdown is preceded by corona and is controlled only by spacing. The corona voltage or inception voltage mainly depends upon the sphere diameter. These are the three important spacings we are working with respect to the corona. The very first one is, I will repeat, the first is small spacing. For small spacing, the field is uniform and the breakdown voltage mainly depends upon the spacing. And fairly large spacing, that is region 2, the field is non-uniform and the breakdown voltage depends both on the sphere diameter and the spacing. For the third case, that is at large spacing, region 3, the field is non-uniform and the breakdown is preceded by corona and is controlled only by the spacing. The corona inception voltage mainly depends upon the sphere. These are the important points with respect to this discharge gaps, the corona. And we are going to consider point electrode and sphere electrodes. So if you use two sphere electrodes horizontal or vertical will be considered as a uniform field. We will get a uniform field. If we consider one point electrode and other one is sphere electrode, then the field will be non-uniform. It depends upon the electrode size and the shape. If it is of uniform shape, then field will be uniform. If it is of non-uniform, one is uniform and the other one is non-uniform, then the field will be non-uniform, and the concentration of charges will be more at these edges. In this case, at the surface, the maximum concentration of charges will be at this place, points, sharp edges. At sharp edges, the concentration of charges will be more. This is about the corona and corona inception field. You go through this text later. So as I said, I was talking about non-sustaining discharge and self-sustaining discharge. This is a brief introduction about that non-sustaining discharge and self-sustaining types. The breakdown in gases called a spark breakdown is a transition of non-sustaining discharge into self-sustaining discharge. So earlier explained about this. The buildup of high currents in the breakdown is due to the process known as ionization, in which electrons and ions are created from the neutral atoms or molecules and their migration, that means the movement to the anode and the cathode respectively, leads to the high current. Whenever it is the electrons are moving from one place to another place, that is in between the electrodes or in between any part, in between any materials, it will move from one place to whenever it moves from one place to another place, it will liberate an electrons, and those electrons will collide with the other electrons which are already liberated, and that leads to a current. Next is types of theories. Two types of theories are there. One is Townsend's theory and the other one is a streamer theory. This Townsend's theory deals with the alpha, gamma and beta that I said about alpha, gamma and beta. Alpha is a Townsend's primary ionization coefficient. Gamma is a Townsend's secondary ionization coefficient. Beta is a normal constant. And this is about that. And streamer theory is which deals with the streamers which are produced in the supplies. So this I explain the next slide is streamer theory, and also this Bastian's law. Okay, thank you. We'll continue in the next class. In the next class, I'll cover up the streamer theory and Bastian's law. Thank you.